Yep. Tell me about it then, when you were in Sweden and things. Anything you can remember from the beginning, and then we'll just go wherever we stop, we'll stop. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember when 3 years old. Before that, I can't say I can remember very much.
Mm-hmm. How many kids in your family?
Yeah, I was alone.
Mm-hmm.
There was closed. I was over 6.5 years. Then my brother Jan was born. And when I was around 3 years old, there was an old lady, neighbor lady, that looked after me. Mama went to the factory and worked.
Where was Daddy? Papa?
Papa, he worked.
Mm-hmm.
Them years, I think he worked in the woods. Man didn't pay enough, so he went in och worked in the juten factory på Oskarshamn. Where they weaved material of jute.
Isn't that what they did?
The sacks, they made sacks of it. Gunny sacks, I think they called them. Mattress cover, you know, you don't have them stitch mattresses for the beds. They were mostly straw he put in. You know, in the late 80s or middle 80s, you don't live so comfortable in that way. So then, Dad, he worked in the woods, and then he tried to come in, so he worked in the jute factory.
In the woods, was he like a lumberjack person? Or?
Yeah, my grandpa bought standing wood, and then he had 7 boys, so he had to find some work for them. So they worked there and cut the wood, cut the trees, and saw up some. And then they shipped that to England. A lot of woods they shipped.
What kind? Hardwood for furniture or just for paper?
No, they used for boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they made boxes after they come to England. That my dad worked with too. You know, there wasn't easy to find any place.
So your father and your father's father kind of
my father's father, my grandpa, he didn't do very much work.
Didn't he buy the forest? Didn't he buy the standing trees?
The standing trees. He bought the standing trees, so they cleared up the land. And then they cut the wood and to ship it to England. You know, there were no railroad them days. So they had to have horses to pull the wagons, and I can't really say, they were way over 2 Swedish miles. You can say that 20 miles from the Halmstad.
American miles.
Yeah, American miles. And all they could have it, the horses
to pull.
Yeah, and on the way then by the road, there were places where they could go in. You know, they couldn't fly from home way to the ocean to Halmstad in one day. They had to rest, so there were places they rest. Sleep overnight and room for the horses too. That's the way they shipped the wood.
They'd have to do that all year round? All year, or just in summer?
I can't answer.
Yeah.
My dad used to talk about it.
Is that all your dad did then? Or did he try to do other things?
Yeah, when he grew up. Then after so he could go out and work, he was old enough for that. Then my dad was the youngest one in the family. So I don't know if their grandpa still kept down there. The first time I remember Grandpa, I was around 6 or 7 years old. Then I can picture him. We were used to go up there. My grandpa had 7 boys. And there was, I think there were 3 boys and a girl that left for America. And none of them come back home.
So, so you have family and relatives over here then because of because of them.
Yeah, my dad had 3 brothers anyhow. One was Sven and one was Aron and Nita. And the other one, I can't remember the name right now. So I think he had 3 brothers and 1 sister. And they were all in Wisconsin.
So your father is the only one that stayed over there?
No, there was he's my father's oldest brother. He went to Halmstad, and he started to work for the ships were coming in.
The harbor.
Yeah, they were right by the water. Halmstad lay right by the water, by the river there, and the ocean. And he come there, so he worked fixing the boats and doing work like that. Many years ago.
So what, then how old are you, 6 or 7 now?
6 or 7. Oh yeah, I can remember a little bit, not very much. When there was one brother that of my dad, he bought a farm close to Halmstad. And they didn't go so good for him. He started drinking and neglected the family.
So most people then would do farming, or they
That brother was farming. And one brother, the oldest brother, he worked by the ocean, fixing the ships, do some little work. And he make a fairly good living, and he had a big family. And one thing what he did, I tell you, when they run short of money, he went home to Grandpa and got a little bit.
Get a bit more.
To help them.
To get them along. Did they have families and things too?
Oh yeah.
So
the oldest brother had a big family. And the boys went to they were seamen. I think you call them seamen.
Sailors, seamen, yep.
And one,
fishers.
There was a big storm one New Year's Eve, New Year's night. And one of the boys were out. He close to England, and the ship went down. So we never heard of him.
And that was
uncle? You can say they were my cousin.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there was another one. There was nothing to do. They had to go find the work. There were no really factories to go and work, and not very much building either. So.
How old were you when, or anybody? How old did they have to be before they could go out and look? I mean, they had to be 12 or 13 or 15. How old were they when they start thinking about going out and finding the work and stuff?
Oh, you have to. A girl could go out and work when she was 13. And she couldn't work with machinery like weaving. Or there was machinery before you were 14.
Is that a law, or is that just what?
That was the law.
The law.
Oh, yeah. They were strict by that. You know, a little kid come in.
To do that. How old were you then when you started to work?
I was 13. And I couldn't run a loom. And we could draw in the threads for the war and do handwork. So I was 13 when I started in the factory.
And is that the same factory that when we were in Sweden in 1984, we were walking across the bridge, and you could see, and you talked about a factory. Is that the same one?
That's the one.
The one that you worked at?
That really put the Oskarström on the map.
For that one?
Yeah. And there were Englishmen and Germans that started there. And you know, the river there, Nissan, there were falls. So they got all the power from there to run machinery and life.
What you worked at 13 then, and you just worked in the factory, and that's all you would do, and when what'd you do? You know, did you go to school too, and then work and?
My school was over when I was 12 years old.
So that's all the school you had to go to?
Yeah, that was all.
Uh-huh.
I went, a little bit over 6 years old, I started in school. And when I was 12 years old, then I was through. What
were you expected to learn in school? I mean, they teach you just how to read and write, and that's all?
Read and write. And we had drawings too. I was very poor to draw.
I can't do that either. So you just would read and write, and some numbers.
Read and write. Every morning from 9 to 10 we have Bible study. Half an hour for catechism and then the other one for the history. That was that. And when we were 12 years old, when the school was over, then we had to go for confirmation. And I went, the minister, I worked for the factory then. So then we could go in the evening, once a week. And you sure had to learn.
To do it.
He was kind of strict.
What was a typical day like for you then? I mean, when did you have to get up, and did you have to do anything like chores? And then when you went to school, how long did it last? And what was the school day like? And then, you know, I guess just what's a regular day for you when you were younger?
Yeah, I don't do very much. Man, you have to help at home. Carrying water. We don't have water in the house.
You'd have to do that in the morning?
Not in the morning. When after you come home from school. And you have to watch the little ones too.
Little ones in your family, or little ones for neighbors too?
No, in the family.
In the family.
And then you see, I was 6 years old when Jan was born.
John and Betty.
Yeah, Jan and
Yeah,
Betty.
okay. Yep.
And I was 10 when six of them were born. He's born Christmas Day, 1910.
So you would get up in the morning and just get ready for school, and get the other kids ready to go to school too, and you walk to school, or what would you do?
Oh yeah, we walk.
How far?
10 minutes. Uphill, and then the way easy go down. Go home.
Go home. Was it just one schoolhouse building, you know, like?
There was one building, and there were two big rooms. And there were, well, you can put in there, say, the first two grades, there was something put in there like
kindergarten.
Kindergarten. There were more in kindergarten, and there were, you don't study very much. And then first and second grade, I can't remember if we went together or we, you know, We only went every other day
To school?
to school.
What would you do on the other days? Is that just be home and work, or
No, we were home then.
why did they do every other day?
Oh, because we haven't got enough school.
Yep. So they would do some of the kids one day and then some of the kids another day, so they could do it that way.
That's the way we had it. And we were strict too, and there were no playing. You have to learn.
Studies.
Yeah, you have to study.
How did they teach you? Did they make you repeat things in class? You know, the teacher would say it and then you would say it too. Did you have to read?
Well, you have to read too, and you got lessons. So you have this. So then you have to answer the next day.
Oh, they'd have like a test or something for you.
Yeah.
Would you have to stand up and do the test and say it out loud, or would you get to write on paper?
No. Oh no, save on the paper.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and get it on there.
Well, that's the way it was. And we had we had a woman teachers for the first and second in the higher grade.
Grades, yep.
The kindergarten, we don't go to the big school. We go closer to there was a home we have fixed over, and big home there. First, kindergarten you can say. Then first and second grade.
Was at the big school?
Third and fourth.
And they were at the big school, or they were still at the same place? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That you showed me there, and we walked around.
All over.
Yep. We saw your postman too.
Huh?
The man who used to deliver your mail or something. We talked to him on that morning too.
Oh yeah.
Someone, I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah. Did he? You could talk to him.
Yeah, well, we talked together with him. He
Not
remembered you.
Swedish.
No. I can't do that. I did well enough just reading it as we went along too and stuff. When did you meet Grandpa, or how did you meet Grandpa?
Grandpa belongs to clubs. He was a good Templar.
A what?
You know what good Templar is.
Uh-uh.
You don't supposed to drink.
Oh yeah.
Or we had a lodge. He was there. He joined up too. Oh, you know, we had fun. We had dances. And Torsten never danced in Sweden.
He just would go and sit there and talk and...
Oh yeah, and visit with people. And then we mostly had coffee too, and a roll. There were not any big parties, man. And then the young ones met.
How old were you then? How old are you when you go to these clubs and stuff?
Oh, 17, I think it was.
Could you go before then, or everybody had to wait until you were 16 or 17 before you could go to a club?
No, you could go early. We were little kids. I don't think I was more than 10, 12 years old. When we have dances, we have open dance pavilion, what you can say open. There was no roof. There was just the floor and the railing. Then we were used to young kids. We danced.
Your whole
music there.
Your whole family would go, or just friends?
No, we kids.
Just the kids.
Yeah.
What kind
Mama never danced.
She didn't either.
Not my dad either.
So you'd go there with your girlfriends and things?
Oh, girlfriend. I was together with a family. We have 4 girls. 2 were older and 2 were younger than me. And that family, we kept together, so just like sisters. I was a sister to them. Elsa. That was my best friend.
She was with you when you met Grandpa then the first time, or saw him?
Yes, sure.
Did you talk to him right away, or what? How did you get to talk to him if he didn't dance?
He didn't dance. But he took us to the dances.
Oh, they did?
Then they went to show.
Mm-hmm.
You see, they had a movie mostly on Saturday, not very much on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
1 or 2 shows. So we could be with.
To go with and things.
Yeah, we had fun. And some went, took the train and went into Halmstad, that city.
Mm-hmm.
We had shows, something like what you had here.
That's kind of like isn't Homestead like the big city
Oh,
that
yeah.
everybody go to and
Now you see, there is the courthouse for
Mhm.
the whole
area?
Halland.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there are more business going on in Halmstad.
So you go to the social clubs and then you would. When was the first time that you talked to Grandpa or you knew him and things? Well, I mean, was it at the social club and did you just talk to him and say hi to him, or did you really talk to him a long time, or what was the first time that you met him?
There were 2 boys, Ernst Norén, Grandpa. That was Grandpa's best friend. And then him.
Mm-hmm.
And Elsa. And I. And there were more. We were 4 girls. One name was Ada. And Ebba.
Mm-hmm.
And Elsa and I. And we were together a lot. Sometimes we went home to my home and some of the boys come with. And there was a room, just a small room. They were not the big. You can say little bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And we could sit there and we sang a lot. And talk.
Mm-hmm.
And we had fun.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And Mama, Papa, they were good. Sometimes Mama baked biscuits on Saturday or Friday or Saturday. And there were no biscuits left on Sunday.
After your party,
No.
you eat them all gone.
Oh, we don't have none, just the biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was good.
Oh yeah. And so he would come over then, and you would talk with him, and you would see him, and have him come over and things like that. And how old were you when you do you get a date when you're over there, or don't they let you do that?
Oh, he come up. He come up and pick me up. And I tell you one thing. Torsten said he never knew what a home was like
You didn't.
before he come to my home.
So that was special for him to be there.
Yes.
And see what family and things were like for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just looked over here. He had a tough life.
It wasn't so easy when he had
No.
to be on his own and stuff.
They never, till one come now, his mother took him from Grandma. And to bring him home when she was married.
Mm-hmm.
And let him live by them. There was another mouthful to feed.
Yeah, and it wasn't easy just to feed what they
And
had to.
Torsten's stepfather, he worked in the factory. He was a very nice man. And Torsten's mama was a nice woman.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't keep him.
Financially, they couldn't do that. They didn't have the money to do that.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Men we done, so he never starved really.
Mm-hmm.
He was more on his own. So they were not always so fun for him.
So easy. So it was really neat when he could come and see you and
Come
do
to my home.
doing the singing and being with his friends at the club and things. That was special for him to be able to do that.
To be around.
Mm-hmm.
And his grandma, he felt sorry for he don't, he make little money.
Mm-hmm.
He should give grandma a little bit money. Man. You know, when you are young, you're just thinking of yourself.
Yeah, I remember. I know what that's like
Yeah.
to do that and things.
And Torsten was good. I say that. He kept got mad.
But he was a good person though.
Oh, yeah. I have many happy years there.
Yeah.
There was a little trouble once in a while.
Sure. Well, everything is like that. I know that.
That's all over.
I have one really special memory that I always have, and Dad remembers this one too. Is when we went fishing at Lake Granite, which is towards Annandale, and we went fishing with him. And who was your neighbor friend across the lake?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. We met him at your party your 90th birthday. He was there too.
Oh, yeah.
And the one time we went fishing and Grandpa would, push it out for me, and then I would reel in. And every time it'd always be reeling in, we'd catch one every single time. Every single time we did it, and we just kept catching them and stuff. And I remember that. That's my favorite memory that I have, because we laughed and we had so much fun, because we had to quit because it was every time we'd put it out, we'd reel it in, we'd get one, and I'm this little boy trying to reel this in, and Grandpa would help me so that I wouldn't lose it. And I thought fishing was like that all the time because of when we went out and did that. So I remember that. That's something that's special, and I do that.
Yeah, it was not me.
No.
And we pulled together. We have a tough time too.
So you saw each other a little bit then and things, and then Grandpa must have decided to come over to America. He was on his own anyhow, so he decided to come to America instead of being in Sweden anymore.
I tell you, when Torsten's dad come back to Sweden,
Albertson.
Back and forth.
His stepfather Albertson? Or his real father?
No, I Bengt.
His real father, Bengt.
His real father come back.
Yep.
He had sent money to Torsten when he was, I can say 16 or 17 years old. Yeah, anyhow. Then when Birger Erlings, we went home at the same time. I have pictures there. I maybe should take out.
You can show me those later. Now that I know what they are, we can see them.
So then he went up to his dad and thanked him for the money he sent.
Was that the first time he saw him in a long, long time?
Yeah, I really talked to him. He never walked. And then he sent money. I suppose somebody wrote to him and told him to do it. Yeah, anyhow, and then Torsten was laid off from work in the factory, Oskarström. And then Bengt, he gave him money, so he sent him to America. Gave him the ticket.
Why was Bengt in America first and thought that that's a good place for his son to be?
Yeah,
is that why he did that?
Maybe that would be all right. I can tell you, when Torsten left Sweden, there were tough times.
In Sweden?
Oh, yeah. There were no work to be getting. And, you had to make a living. So that's why he went.
Did he have something in mind he was going to do? Was he going to be a farmer? Was he going to get into his own business?
No, he had an aunt on his mother's side.
In Wisconsin,
in Davenport, Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah, there is some relation yet down there. And so he come there. When, there was a tough time, 1921 in America too. So he stayed with Justina and Gust for a little while.
In Iowa.
Then he got a job for a German farmer in Illinois.
What did he do? Just to be a farmhand to help him out?
Yeah, just a farmhand, just a hired man. I don't know. Some field work too, I suppose. I don't really know.
Is that what he thought he was going to do when he came over here, is work in a farm?
Yeah, no, he took anything.
He just wanted to come here and just
Yeah,
try
and
it out.
he come here so he can get work. But 1921 was tough too. Your dad don't remember that, no. Men I remember them that Stina and Gust. I tell you, one, Stina and Gust, Torsten stayed with them and they went out on the farm. And then when he had Sunday off, he took, there was a spårvagn.
I don't know what that would be.
You went here to me in Minneapolis too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were not the railroad car. And anyway.
Oh, streetcars.
Streetcars, yeah. He
There we
put
go.
the streetcar into Stina and Gust. So they were good to him.
Mm-hmm.
So years after we were married, we were down there and Stina and Gust, we have a lot of sickness. And we paid them, we gave them money. We paid for Torsten's stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they really needed it, how happy they was.
At that time, because of all the sickness.
Yeah, they were just founding the money.
Mm-hmm.
So then, Birger and Frida was in Sweden, Erlings was in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
And we come back to Minneapolis. Then Torsten decided he's going up to Minneapolis.
So he's in Illinois now, and now he wants to go up to Minneapolis.
That,
He worked in Illinois then for a while, and then decided to go to Minneapolis?
Yeah, he worked there, on the farm there. Then he decided to go to Minneapolis. Then Frida and Birger, and then he come to them. And then he have an uncle, Warnie, in St. Paul.
Oh, Warnie Johnson.
His was, yeah.
Okay.
His folks. They were in St. Paul, so then that was a little help too for him. And then he got work. Not very much, he made 50 cents an hour.
What did he do?
He worked for the railroad, you know. The goods come in,
Yep.
you know, all the packages
Yep.
and that and that, in a railroad car. And then they have to move it to another car that goes
Another place, yeah, depending on where it would go.
Yeah, he worked there for quite a while.
It's almost like being in the postal service, because they would ship everything
Yeah,
by
something
railroad.
like that.
So you do that
Try that.
for 50 cents an hour.
Oh yeah.
And this is 1922?
Yeah, there were 22. And then 23, he sent a ticket to me.
What did you do from 1920 to 1922 then? You just stayed in Sweden and
Oh, I worked in the factory.
in that factory?
Oh, sure.
You
I
were-
worked home.
You were like 18 or 19 then, weren't you? Or 20 maybe?
No, I was over 20.
Oh yeah, 1920, you have to be 20 years old, yeah.
21. And I was in politics too.
So you were really involved in
Oh,
Sweden and everything.
If I never had gone there.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there's no use to cry over spilled milk.
No, it's probably better, and things.
When you live to your 90, you see
everything, yeah.
a little bit of everything.
Everything, yeah.
Both good and bad.
Mm-hmm. So you, when Grandpa left, did you promise that you might come or you might not, or did he know?
No, not really. I can't remember.
You knew he was going to go, and did you write?
He was going to go and try to see what it looked like.
You going to write letters or at all?
And then he stayed there. He stayed here.
Oh, you didn't know if he was going to stay or not. He was going to try it, and then maybe he'd come back.
Oh yeah, I wrote and he wrote. I got letters.
Mm-hmm.
I think I even got the letter what he wrote when I was in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I promised them I will come. And they don't take very long before I got a ticket.
To come over.
Yeah. And I don't want to tell Dad, so I told Mama.
What did she say?
Oh, he don't like I went.
She doesn't like that you go.
No.
She thought you had a good job and everything was good for you, and
everything was going good.
you know.
I have friends. I went out to dances. And you know, you meet so many good people when you get organized.
And social, and you got a job, and you're older and things.
You know, we have a union, and there were people from Norway and Finland and Denmark. And together with the Swedes there. You know, you see so much.
And now
you learn so much.
And coming to America, you'd have to start all over, and not you wouldn't know what was going to happen. And
so, and I say I go over and stay for 5 years.
When did you tell your dad?
Huh?
What did you tell your father?
I don't tell him that.
You let Mama tell him, or did you?
Mama told him. And I promised him I'm going to see what his sister is.
She's in America then?
Yeah, she was in Prairie Farm, Wisconsin. You know, that's just 80 miles from Minneapolis. So I wrote to them. I got housework first when I come here.
In Wisconsin?
Huh?
In Wisconsin you worked?
No, in Minneapolis. So then my cousin come to Minneapolis and saw me while I was working. And there were 5 kids. There were 4 boys and 1 girl. So I enjoyed that work there.
So how did you told your father you're going to come, and then it took a couple months before you left?
Oh yeah.
And writing letters and things? And
that I got it in the first part of the year. I can't remember the January or February, and then I left midsummer. Midsummer after. I come to New York the 4th of July.
So New York is just 4th of July, and everybody's
there were
big parties and crazy.
And you see, I come second class. My dad say I shouldn't go to Ellis Island, so give me the money to pay between. Third class.
What was the difference between third and second class? I mean, was it really that much better?
Oh, yes.
Third class was probably in the bottom of the boat, and
bottom of the boat.
And it wasn't very nice.
And you go to Ellis Island. I have pictures of that too. And you know, they're tough. No, we went and we had an examination. The doctors and papers, they were taken care of on the boat.
In second class.
So when we the boat landed, so we could go right under the ground.
America.
Yeah. And there was some travelers aid, and we helped us for the train where we supposed to go on.
And you didn't know any English, so you're kind of nervous.
Oh yeah. We were 2 girls together. And I can't really remember because we changed trains. And one time we had to take us, there was in Detroit, or was it in Chicago?
Probably Chicago.
Chicago.
Probably.
Yeah. They took us from one railroad station to another. There was a bus that took them, passengers from there. I was not the only one that had to transfer. Then when I come in that railroad station in Chicago, then I see some people from the boat.
That you recognize? Yeah,
I recognize. Sure. They're just like friends.
Well, I mean, it's somebody you know.
Yeah.
How long you on a boat? What does it take, like 3 weeks or a month to be on a boat from Sweden?
10 days.
Okay, so it's not that long.
No.
But 10 days is a long time, but that's...
Man, you meet them. You sit there. And there were two guys from Halmstad on the boat. And after we come and land, so we landed there, I didn't see one of them. Then the other one, I saw him in Chicago, even before you were born.
Mm-hmm.
We drove to Chicago, Pat and Kenneth and
Mhm.
Thorsten and I. So I saw him there.
And he was doing okay?
What?
He was doing okay then?
Not too good. He had asthma,
Mm-hmm.
and so he was sickly. Then I know his wife, and we had coffee with them. And then he died. And she went back to Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
He died. A lot of things happened.
All at the same time. So you get to Minneapolis and you worked in house, no, not housework, cleaning?
I know. I got the job. I got the job for the family, and that was in July, and I worked there to Christmas. Then Thorsten was to my uncle's place in Wisconsin, because where he worked, we were not busy over winter.
Mm-hmm.
So then I went to my aunt's house. My dad had one brother and one sister there. So I went to my aunt's house and celebrate Christmas there with them.
And that was your first Christmas here then?
That was first Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, that was a tough one.
Mm-hmm. Because you were away from family and things too.
Yeah. And we have a hard man to help them.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt and her daughter, my cousin. And we have to take care of the animals over the holidays, because he wanted to go to the hired man went to his family. So they were not too good.
Mm-hmm.
So then I didn't stay in Wisconsin. I went to Minnesota, back to Minneapolis.
When did you finally get to see Grandpa though? Did you get to see him right away and then go to Wisconsin?
Yeah, he was on another farm. If you ever go to Wisconsin, you can see.
I remember going to Wisconsin with Dad one time. We went to Uncle Charlie or...
Oh yeah, sure. You were with them.
Yeah, I was with them. We drove all
In
around.
that valley there.
We showed us everything.
Yeah, they both lived there.
Because I remember like Uncle Charlie's place and Dad would be there in this old barn.
Oh,
The barn isn't up anymore. The roof is kind of caved in. And I remember Dad telling us about him going to Uncle... It wasn't really his Uncle Charlie, but he called him Uncle Charlie, and they would go there and he'd be with him.
Yeah, that farm, that building, they are gone.
Mm-hmm.
And Aunt Nita's house is still there.
Mm-hmm.
Because Aunt Nita, she had a granddaughter that want to buy the place or have it just like the Nembens.
Mm-hmm.
And they must be just young.
I know, but it's a memory, so they.
Oh yeah, it should be fun to go there.
See it.
For all the time we went there.
And that's where you and Grandpa first kind of started in America.
That was my grandpa's sister.
Mm-hmm. So
My dad's sister.
and then you wrote your father and said you were with your sister and or with your aunt, and everything was okay, and
I tell you, I don't get to write too much.
just enough to tell him everything's all right.
Yeah, I've been there and seen them. Then, you know, while she come, my aunt come down here. There was a man that worked in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and he made money.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to Sweden for a visit, and he picked up Neta, my dad's sister, with him. We were engaged.
Mm-hmm.
We were on the boat. And when they come to New York, we were together till they come to Stillwater. You know, then the days, in them old time, they had the river for transportation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he left her in Stillwater. And Carl Peter, he went out to Prairie Farm, Wisconsin, and bought the farm.
The farm that you stayed at with her.
What?
The same farm that you stayed at with her?
Oh yeah, sure. He had that farm.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went back to Stillwater after he got the farm. That was a log house.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went to Stillwater and we were married.
Mm-hmm.
Then he took her to the farm, little log house.
So that was a good story then.
What?
That was a good thing that happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that, and he was kind of nice. He was a, what should I say?
A
decent
gentleman, a decent person.
Decent, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sure. So then he left her there. Then he had to go out in the woods to make money, you know. The people, the men folks went to the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And she lived there. She said, one time there were Indians. They come and looked in that window.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What time of year is this? Is this, or what year is this? 1927? 1928?
No.
No, it's earlier?
Oh, they were before 1900.
Oh, okay, so this is 18, that's what I thought when you said Indian, so I had to think of when it was.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because this is your
If I
father's sister.
What?
This is your father's sister, so it's...
Yeah, that's why my father's. He only had one sister and there were 7 boys. And, you know, a neighbor lady, you know, there were other settlers too. And they say, Neta, you always have so many house plants.
Mm-hmm.
She had flowers on. So that's what he told me. She was good to raise plants.
When you got there,
Yeah.
that she was that person, yeah?
And her husband, he got arthritis, so he couldn't do any work.
Did he have enough saved up though, so everything was okay?
No, he said, do you know what he started? He could walk with a chair in front of him. And yeah, like they have
The
now.
walkers. Mm-hmm.
And he started to raise beef. And he made money on that. So he even bought the new car.
Mm-hmm.
And he don't buy a Ford. There were 1918. He bought an Overland.
A what?
An Overland.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you should ask some of the old ones.
What an overland is.
If there was a car with that name, Overland.
It didn't last very long though.
No, they didn't.
It wasn't a Ford, and it...
No, they were better than Ford.
It was, but it didn't make it very long. Well, that's good. That's good.
He had to have it better than the Ford.
So, then you worked at their farmhouse, and Grandpa worked at his farmhouse. And when did you get to Minneapolis, or how did you ever? Because I know you got to Minneapolis and things, and you got married sometime too, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Oh, I went back. I stayed after Christmas. And then my cousin Amanda,
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to try to go to Minneapolis to take housework for a little while. So she come back. They took us on a horse and sled
Mm-hmm.
to Clear Lake. And then we both come in to Minneapolis. Then we got in an old people's home, like a nursing home,
Mm-hmm.
you can say. So we worked together.
So then you're in Minneapolis now.
Then I was in Minneapolis.
Is Grandpa in Minneapolis too, or is he still on that
No,
farm?
he was on the farm. He stayed with Charlie's.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But so I can't remember just exactly when he come back. And anyhow, we worked in that home, nursing home,
Mm-hmm.
with old people, work in the dining room. And then when the spring come, then Amanda had to go back home on account of yard work and God.
To help on the farm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed with that on the home that I worked. And did I get... Yeah, anyhow, I think it was just after that I got went down to North Star Volunteer.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yep.
they needed a weaver.
And you did that in Sweden, so you knew how to do that.
Yeah, sure. So I got hired right away. There were people, there were Swedish people working. And the boss was from Norway.
Would you say that that's probably the best job you had here then?
Yeah.
Because that, I mean,
That was
that's,
a good job.
I mean, it seems like that was a real job, and that was
Yeah.
and that made you settle.
What should I say? Your life is worth something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was meaningful.
Just as good as the next one.
It was meaningful because you were a part of a good job and things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent many years there. 13 or 15.
How much did you get paid an hour?
We get peaceful. We are peaceful. And Birger, Torsten's uncle, Birger, he worked for the street company for that car repair.
Mm-hmm.
And I made more money than what he did. So the money was worth more than days. So then, I made pretty good. Then we were not careful, we spent money.
You and Grandpa?
No.
What'd you spend it on? Just to go out and have fun, or?
Oh yeah, sure. And take trips, drive the car. And we didn't really try to save.
Just you thought it was okay?
I were going to keep on like that. And we didn't.
No. So when did you decide to get married then? Grandpa come back from Wisconsin and he worked at the...
back from Wisconsin.
And he worked...
They were hard. He come back to the railroad. And they were hard to find a place to live. The war had been going on.
Mm-hmm.
So there was not very much building going on. Then, down close to Seven Corner, we had one friend from Sweden there living.
Seven Corners in St. Paul?
No, they in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
It was Cedar Avenue, Washington. Okay. And there were three rooms. There were living room, bedroom, and kitchen. And there was a stool and you could wash, and there was no tap, and there was no electric.
Mm-hmm.
You know that many years ago. And we rented there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got married. Then we had a place to live. And we bought furniture. We bought a bed and a good chair to sit in.
Mm-hmm.
And kitchen table. You not have that table.
Oh, the one she has.
No. She had it in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And we bought the dresser. Yeah, a bed and a dresser. And that chair to sit in. And then 4 chairs and a table.
Mm-hmm.
And we had bought the gas stove too. Then we had to have the stove for heat.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a heavy iron stove.
Were you on the first floor, the second floor?
Second floor.
So you have to get it up there.
Yeah.
How long did you stay there then?
We stayed a year and a half.
And you're still working at the woolen mill, and what's Grandpa
Oh
doing?
yeah, I was still working on the woolen.
And Grandpa's at the railroad?
He come in and he worked with the Elmer Dahlin later on.
Oh, I know, yeah.
I think that was just about when he started to work for a plumber. He was digging sewer.
Mm-hmm.
That was hard work. I think we got 50 cents an hour. And that was hard. And
This must be 1930 now or something.
50 cents. Man, you got more. You could go at a nice ice cream cone for 5 cents.
Oh, okay. Ice cream cones now are $1.50, so that's pretty good.
when we were out going around, you know, in the evening,
Mm-hmm.
we always went in and got an ice cream cone for a nickel.
What would you do for entertainment then? You couldn't sing in your social clubs anymore.
Mm.
What would you and Grandpa do? You have
We went to shows,
like movie shows.
yeah, kids shows.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't cost very much to go there. There was one on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And when we moved then from Cedar in Washington, then we were on where the Swedes lived. We moved to 26th Avenue. No, 26th Street and 31st Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a place.
Is that when you lived at the same place with the Nordwalls or something? Remember you told me?
No, I don't. Maybe we did. No.
Because somewhere there were some neighbors that you know that were the Nordwalls, and I figured Swedish.
Oh yeah, we had friends.
Mm-hmm.
And he worked where Dad worked with for the railroad.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that. No, det var later on. Ja, anyhow. We moved there and there was electric and there was a bathtub.
So you're moving up.
Oh yes. You know they haven't been dance.
So then you lived in the Swedish part of town and stuff, and you still worked at the woolen mill, and Grandpa still worked at the railroad and things?
Oh yeah. I worked with the railroad, with the woolen mill the whole time. And he quit and he come in to dig sewers.
Mm-hmm.
And there he met Elmer Dahlin, and then he come in with the little plumbing too. And you know, Dad was small and he don't have the strength. So he quit that plumbing because to carry the radiators, you know them old radiators up the stairs, they were too hot.
Those old ones used to heat everything with.
What?
The old radiator heaters, those, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen
They're
them.
cast iron. They're too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
And then later on, you know, when he was laid off a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Then, close where we lived, was a Norwegian lady and she worked for North Star. So when we got busy, I was called down there once in a while, maybe a week or two. And you know, when you made them, you took care of them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't spend too much for fun.
No. So then it was kind of tough.
Oh yeah.
It was tougher.
And we made it.
When did you move to Cokato? I know that.
Why we moved to Cokato?
Yeah.
The first time when we moved up here, we know Axel and Gunhild.
Mm-hmm.
You heard them talking that then. They were related to Russell Jansen.
Mm-hmm.
Short-haired son And so I was up here, and then Lou and Clara out on the farm. We had a farm north of town.
Yep, I know where that
Yeah,
one.
they wanted somebody to come out and help them. And Torsten was game to go out there. So we went out and we stayed with them for 2 years. Then Torsten done things for Clara didn't like. So then I thought, why should I? She never told him, and she told me. So then I thought, why stay there?
Mm-hmm.
So we went south of Cokato
Yep.
and rented that chicken farm.
Mm-hmm.
And they went good.
That was better.
Oh, yes. And then somebody come and bought that place.
So you couldn't rent it anymore.
No. So we had to move away from there. And Jeanette was the baby. And then we moved south of town. And Torsten went to Minneapolis and he got a job.
Mm-hmm.
And the chicken business went good.
So you
Killed
continued.
the
So you.
chicken and he took them into Minneapolis
And
and
so
then the egg business.
Mm-hmm.
So then we had to move away from there.
Where was Dad born? In the cities or in?
What?
Where was Dad born? I mean, were you living in the cities when Dad was born, or were you in Cokato?
Oh no, he lived in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
On 30th Avenue,
Okay. Yep.
between Franklin and 22nd Street. And the house is still there.
It is.
Oh.
Do you remember the house number? You know, was it 21 or?
2119.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go in 2119
Yeah.
on 30th. And we stayed there. And then he was laid off from work. We paid $20 a month. We had 3 rooms,
Mm-hmm.
living room and bedroom and kitchen, and then a little bed. There was a tub
Mm-hmm.
and stool, and there were no washboard. And so I liked it there. They went all right. Then he wasn't working and I wasn't working. So then there was Elmer Darlene. He lived up 22nd Street. So there was cheap rent. I don't think we paid more $7. He lived downstairs and we lived upstairs. So we moved there.
How old was Dad then when you moved to Cokato?
He was just a year.
So he was.
I don't think he was 2 years.
So he lived on the farm then with you,
What?
north of town. Dad lived in the farm north of town with you when he was 2 and 3 years old.
Then we moved up to Cokato when Ken was 2 years old.
So he would run around and he would play with Russell and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Is that what?
Oh yeah. Russell was a little older than he was. Laverne a little younger.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember really the age.
I just remember pictures of Russell and then Dad and them playing and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And,
I had a lot of pictures on them.
Mhm.
You can take the albums and see.
Mm-hmm. So then you lived on your farm south of town, and Grandpa sold the chickens and the eggs and things
Oh yeah.
in Minneapolis. And then how did you ever get to Fish Lake then? Everything was.
Oh. Yeah, we rented.
Mm-hmm.
So then we were talking about to have a place.
Mm-hmm.
And we were together with German people that lived up on Fish Lake, Emma Ruger.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a corner right by the road.
Yep.
We bought that. And I think he paid 100 and, no, he paid over 300. Yeah, I would
For the land.
Yeah,
Yep.
for the land. And then we put up just the cabin right by the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing we could live there year round in that cabin. So then he decided he's going to dig a basement and move that cabin up there. And he down there.
So he did that by himself then, pretty much.
Huh?
He did most of that by himself then to build the house and.
Yeah, there he built it. Torsten built most of it.
So it started out as just a cabin.
Huh?
And you started out with a cabin.
Yeah,
Then you made a basement and moved the cabin on top of the basement.
Basement, yeah.
Is that part of the original house, that cabin then, and you just added on to it?
Yeah, then we add on to the house. And then he did for the garage too. Oh, we spend money on that.
Now I remember that.
I think, how much did Ken get for the place?
I have no idea. I don't know.
2,600?
1,000, I would think.
Yeah,
For the whole.
26,000. I
Sounds
have
right.
papers, man.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Yeah, doesn't matter. So you lived, but you lived there from what, 19 what? 1940, 50?
No, we moved there. But did Kenneth get married?
Dad was married when he was 26. When was he born? Dad, 1930.
1930.
26.
56.
1956, you got married.
Yeah. Yeah, we lived there then.
Mm-hmm.
To 73.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I can't remember
No.
anymore.
They
It's too
don't
hard to
make
remember.
any-
It
They
don't
don't
matter.
make any tip.
It don't matter. But that, would you consider that to be your home then? That one place? All these other places you lived at, you moved around.
Yeah. So
But to
that
me-
was my home.
To me, Fish Lake was your home. I mean, it was really yours.
Yeah, we lived there. You know, the really was, everything was fixed up when we left.
Mm-hmm.
And he done a lot of work to it. And then friends. Cement for Axel på 17.
Mm-hmm.
And then Axel Danielsson and Esther. Axel done a lot of carpenter work. And Jan Collins too. I can't remember everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to see how much we spent to build the house, I have a book there.
So you kept a lot of stuff, your newspaper clippings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Are you gonna try to put that in put that all together in one place? I mean, you have some here and
Oh yeah,
some there.
I really should do that.
So try to put it in one place.
I'm going to put them, I have an old card table in here there,
Mm-hmm.
in the corner, so I can lay it out.
Mhm.
Now I have it, when I can remember where I have it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are lots to throw out. You've been throwing out now,
Mhm.
so you know what it is.
Can you tell me your story about? It was a story you told me when I was near the car one time, and you told me about a time when there was a really bad storm and you got stuck in a streetcar or something, and Grandpa had to come and get you or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
I can't. You told me that story one time, and I can't remember it very well.
Oh, you know, there was in November 11th storm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a history.
Yeah.
And Dad had taken out the life insurance, so he'd been to the doctor for examination. And he come home, And it started to snow. First in the forenoon we went to Montgomery Ward. We lived on 29th Avenue then. And then when he come home, and then he was going to take doctor's examination that day. So he went. And then they started to snow, but not too bad. So I went up to the streetcar then on the 29th of 27th. And streetcar could go from Franklin or down to Cedar Avenue, closed on the other side. Then we couldn't go any farther.
They had to just stop and let people off.
Yeah, we were there. We were sitting there in the streetcar.
Were the streetcars with windows on them and some heaters? Were they open?
Windows.
Did they have windows on them and heaters in them too, or
Oh
not?
yeah, they were behind the windows. And we were sitting there. And they didn't seem like he could get the streetcars going. We were stuck. People were stuck in Minneapolis. Or the hotels were full, and any place used to get roof over their head. And then there was a coal office, few houses down from where we were sitting in the streetcar. So I went over there and I called Dad because the cars could go. And then, you know, the electric. So Dad come down and get me. And that was a tough one. All night the snow. People, the hotels in Minneapolis were all filled up. And I don't think I went to work the next day. I think I stayed home. I come home in the night there. And the next day I don't go to work.
Because of the storm?
For the storm.
What year is this? November 11th, 19... Probably 30 something.
Oh, I can't remember that.
I can't remember mine either.
And that was a bad one. There were so many duck hunters that hosted it. We were down in the river, by the river. Not Mississippi, there's another river. We hosted it.
Because the storm came so fast.
They come so fast, and they were really tough.
In November 11th, you usually don't have a big storm. I mean, that's still fall. You don't have a big storm and maybe until end of November or December usually.
Oh yeah.
And so that would catch them by surprise.
So they really got stuck then. That was one thing.
Is there any others that you've told me so many and I can't always remember what they are. About stories about stuff. And
the weather.
Or the weather, or just something that, you know, the first time Dad did something, or, you know, Dad going to school, or Dad maybe and Jeanette when they were sick or something. I can't remember.
Oh, Dad.
Anything
Dad
about
went to school. He went to evening school.
Night school.
Night school, yeah. Oh, yeah. He went really, and we had a fort. And, oh, the clicking.
No, that's my chair.
Oh, the and, you know, he went, and you know the one in North Memorial, Dr. Samuelson, you never went to him. You remember him?
I don't remember him.
Oh, you don't remember him? Yeah, he went to school, he studied them. And he had to pay for his own schooling.
He did?
Yeah. He was a poor farmer boy. And anyhow, then when he didn't have a car, so after school was over, Dad was always taking him home before Torsten come home. And
now he's a doctor.
he was a doctor, and he built that hospital up there. When the Kenneth was born, he was an intern in Swedish hospital. So he took care of Kenneth there.
When he was a kid.
Yeah.
What are some things that you remember about Dad when he was growing up? I mean, what kind of a kid was Dad, and you know, what was Dad like when he was growing up? My dad.
Oh yeah, he was good. He was a good kid. I tell you, never I have to worry about him. We bought that accordion. I think that was a little bit too hard on him.
Well.
Yeah, he had to stay in and practice, and the other kids were out playing.
Every kid goes through that.
Yeah.
With piano or something.
Oh yeah.
You know, they do that.
And you know Dr. Robertson in Buffalo, the eye doctor, he and Kenneth were together a lot.
They kind of grew up together and stuff in
Yeah,
Minneapolis?
in a way, because our houses come back to the alley.
Yep.
So we were neighbors with them, you can say. We come together there. And Kenneth, he was always with Kenneth playing. One time we were down in Riverside Park, and we were close to the water. And the way Kenneth explained it, that he saved him.
He kind of slipped in?
Yeah, you know, not careful. And Kenneth was good when he grew up.
A good kid.
Oh.
How about when he met Mother and things? Did he bring her over right away and introduce you to Patty right away, or?
I tell you, Jeanette was sickly and I was sickly. And there was some kind of doctor's healer, what you can say, up in Dakota. So somebody recommended them. So Dad took me up there on Saturday morning. We drove to Dakota, South Dakota. I can't remember the town. But anyhow, on the way home, Kenneth and Dad. No, Dad took me up. Then on the way home, I think, yeah, on the way home, then Kenneth was playing. He was with Slim Jim. And Pat and Judy and the other one that played the violin.
Gail.
Gail, yeah. They were there. So on the way home, they picked them up. They picked Kenneth and then the three girls. That was the first we met.
Oh, first time.
Yeah. That, and I can't remember the year. You have to find that out.
I'll have to ask him and stuff. So so then Grandpa brought him home then, or?
Oh yeah, they got a ride home. He was going to pick up Kenneth and then the three girls in the back seat. That's what I think he was.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that one.
What?
I didn't know that.
No.
So that one's interesting.
Grandma can remember a little bit.
Yeah.
Not too much.
So did Dad date anybody else or go out with anybody else besides Patty, or did he meet anybody else before he met Patty? Any other girls and stuff?
He was in the army too. He was in the army. So I don't watch him too close. So I can't say very much.
Was that hard to let him go in the army, or was that okay? When he went to the army, was that okay, or didn't you like?
He had to go.
They draft you.
He was drafted. And you see, he was in the, what do you call it now, reserve.
Army Reserve, yeah.
Yeah. And he never tended to that, go to the meetings. He didn't. He neglected. So that's why he was called in.
Naughty,
And I
naughty.
tell you, it was tough to see him go.
Mm-hmm.
It was in October. I had some kids out on the fish lake there. And there was so much leaves, and the kids were playing in the leaves. And Kenny come out then too. So that was in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the army.
And how did he tell you? Did he just tell you I got a letter and how did he tell you that he had to go?
Oh, I saw the letters what he got.
He didn't want to tell you.
No. We took him down to the railroad station. I think, was it Milwaukee or was it the other one? I don't know. But there was the one man that was drafted too, and he had 4 little kids. And then, when we were ready to pull out, then he got orders that he don't have to go.
Because of his children.
For the accounts, 4 kids. The kids were climbing over him the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad to see when we send them out. I hope we never have to do that again. And some of them never been out before.
Mm-hmm.
So there have been good days, man. There are sad days too.
How about Jeanette? What was she like when she was growing up?
She was a spoiled kid.
Who spoiled her?
I don't know.
Yeah? Well, she's a little girl, I suppose.
Huh?
She was the little girl, and I suppose she
yeah.
would get attention from everyone.
I tell you, she was clever.
She was, huh?
Yeah. Like Kenneth said, you know what, she had that crepe, or cake all over the crepe, and then when they got sugar lumps, put them to bed.
Oops.